Florida.
Of Florida.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Kiltz Health live stream with Dr. Nelson. I am your host, Dr. Nelson. All right. I was saying we were having some technical difficulties and that intro came in unscheduled. Welcome to everyone who is already here. Let me know where you're watching from. I am in Central Florida, and Chris is coming all the way from Dublin, Ireland, right?
Yeah.
So we're going to be talking to him. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. And we were trying to upload something. We're going to be talking to Chris, but I did create something sort of as an elevator pitch summary. And while that loads up, we have Lizzie here, Bright's Biscuit, Angela Mullins. Angela, I just realized today you're going to the UK. Brian Ari and Juliet, who's also going to be there in June in the United Kingdom. Roxanne Friend, hello. All righty. So before we introduce Chris, I'm going to play something that I created with information that Chris sent. So let's do that. It's just less than 2 minutes.
Today, we're looking at Chris Geoghegan's story. It's one heck of a health journey. His transformation, well, he says it himself. It's been absolutely life-changing. So let's dive in, starting with a pretty scary diagnosis he received. Out of nowhere, in his mid-20s, Chris's world got turned completely upside down. He had 4 major seizures, leading doctors to diagnose him with epilepsy. On top of that, he was dealing with daily petit mal seizures. So naturally, he first turned to conventional medicine for some answers. Doctors put him on high doses of meds, like Keppra and Lamictal, but it wasn't enough. The seizures and chronic indigestion just stuck around. So, totally frustrated with the situation, Chris took matters into his own hands. He went all in on a strict carnivore diet. No plants, no carbs. And the results? They were almost immediate and pretty darn incredible. First off, his long-running digestive problems completely gone. Then his energy levels just absolutely skyrocketed through the roof. And the big one, those daily petit mal seizures, they just stopped. He's now been totally seizure-free for over a year on this diet. He's even been able to dramatically reduce his daily medication intake. Now, Chris has turned his own struggle into a powerful new purpose. He shares his whole journey online and is training to become a coach. So his story really makes you think about things, doesn't it? And it leaves all of us with one pretty powerful question to consider.
All right. So, Chris, welcome to the show. Go ahead and introduce yourself and give us this was just a minute and a half on some of your story, but I want to hear your story of healing. And we'll have some questions for you.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Dr. Nelson. Yeah, so like when I was at the 24, 25, I had a full-blown seizure, and then I had another one a year later, and then I was put on anticonvulsant medication, like what in that little quick reel they're saying about the Xebanix and the Lamictal and Keppra as well. So they are just anticonvulsants, anti-epileptic medication, and it stopped the big full-blown seizures. So I got those two that I was mentioning, and then it stopped the big full-blown seizures, and then but like I knew that like anti-epileptic medication has side effects, and I felt like that like I wasn't that healthy. So like I kept taking it, and I wanted to find a natural solution. I was trying different diets, like the vegan diet and everything, and that didn't work well. And I was still getting like petit mal. So I stopped, like I said in that short clip there. I had petit mal seizures, which like I'd see dots in front of my eyes, or little things, or maybe something would happen, like 10 seconds would go by and I wouldn't be able to recollect what happened in those 10 seconds. Maybe I'd be talking to someone or something. And also I noticed that my tongue was bruised a lot. I think that's because I bit down on it when I was sleeping. So that was another thing as well that I noticed. So there's little things out there like petit mal seizures. So as I said, the medication helped with the full-blown seizures, not to get any more, but didn't help with the petit mals. And then what I noticed is, but then a few years later, then I said to myself, I want to get off medication because I like to do it the natural way, kind of like recover fully naturally. So, but I didn't, but like I probably went about it wrong, and I had another full-blown seizure. And then I was taking medication. I actually had another one then a few years later. So I've had 4 full-blown seizures in my life. So then I heard about like the keto diet, because I heard that like the keto diet like about John Hopkins and all, that's been used to treat epilepsy for the last like 100 years, the ketogenic diet, especially kids with epilepsy, but adults as well. So I looked into that, and I saw a film as well with Meryl Streep in it, First Do No Harm, that they said that like do it, like that was actually, I think it was based on a real story, that like this person like followed the keto diet. So I looked into that bit, but then mainstream media said you need carbs. Oh, you need carbs. It's your energy source. You need it. It's your fuel source. So I said, oh no, I'm not going to do keto diet. Like I did cut down on carbs a bit, but I still felt like, oh, I'd have a bit of fruit and all. Like Paul Saladino and people like that were having like recommend like having fruit, meat. So I had that a bit. So I had like pineapple in the food, the fruits, with the meat. This was about like maybe 2.5 years ago. And then I remember my mom was sick at the time, and she said to me that my digestion was bad. She noticed, even when I was only eating fruit with meat, only fruit and meat. So like eggs as well, but fruit and meat products. Um, so she said that my digestion was bad, and I was thinking, if I'm after cutting out all these foods, and I'm still having like digestive problems, and I still haven't healed with the epilepsy, then I need to be more strict. So I heard more about the carnivore diet, but as I said, I was a bit hesitant at first, because mainstream media still keeps saying eat lots of like fiber, lots of carbohydrates and all. But then eventually I just said, no, I'll be more strict, and I cut the fruit and went on the carnivore diet. And this was about just over a year ago now. And yeah, now like even the petit mal, like I never notice any bruise on my tongue anymore, and I don't get those the petit mal seizures. I don't get any of those type, like even the ones where like I talk random or I blank out for like 10 seconds. Those don't happen. And now I don't get the afternoon slump, and my digestion, after my mom said that, I paid attention to my digestion, and it's a lot better now. Like it's not perfect. Like sometimes now, like if I was drinking sparkling water or something, or maybe minced beef sometimes, but generally speaking, though, it's a lot better, and I don't have those like bloating or any digestive issues that I used to have when I was eating the plants, even just the fruit. And also my acne as well. That's another thing, actually, as a side point. The acne, as like I used to have a lot of acne, and that's just like cleared up a lot, since there's some scars now on it. But like it's like, especially also when I cut out the dairy as well, I noticed I had a bit of Greek yogurt, and when I cut out that like sometimes now I do have like milk and kefir, but when I cut out the Greek yogurt and all, and the sugar as well in general, from plants, my back and has improved, and now I'm like actually cutting on meds and all, like, so, and with no problems. I'm doing it very slowly and very methodically, and I'm paying attention. Like I don't, you can't just like change over the course of a day, but like everything's going great, yeah. And like my energy, I don't get the afternoon slump anymore really either. Everything.
All right. So How young are you?
38.
38. Okay. You look
Yeah.
younger than 38.
Oh, right.
Uh, I'm 66, and when I was born in 1960, I already had a brother. I was the second child, and he was 2 years, 4 months older than me. And from my earliest memories of him, all I could remember was him having those, like you called them, major seizures.
Yeah.
Those are grand mal seizures. And probably since the age of 3 or so, I would tell him I was going to be a doctor to cure him. That is the reason I am a physician. Unfortunately, he passed before I turned 6. He died of pneumonia, of all things. But I kept my promise. I became a physician. So epilepsy is one of those things that has always interested me. Uh, and of course, like you mentioned, the ketogenic diet has been used for over 100 years in epilepsy. When they found medications that could be used, then the diet became less important. And then nowadays, pretty much only used as a last resort. First, let's try all the possibly toxic medications with the side effects. And if that doesn't work, then we go to something that might be simple to many, which is a diet, which it doesn't mean it works 100% of the time in 100% of the people, but it is fairly effective. So you went keto, you stopped having the grand mal seizures, and you went fully carnivore, and you stopped having the petit mal seizures. Are you still taking any medication?
Yeah, I do, but it's a lot lower dose than I
A
was
lot.
taking. Like, I don't want to go off it completely straight away, because I think obviously when I've been, like, as I said to you, I'm 38 years old. So at the time when I first started taking the medication was 25, because I had the first full blown seizure when I was 24. So since 25 up till 38, like, that's 13 years. So I feel like I can't just come off the medication that quick. Like, so I'm doing it kind of like gradually, and just kind
Mhm.
of being very, like, just being careful with it. But yeah, like,
Certainly,
I'm well
certainly, you
down.
have to be very careful and work with your physician to do that. But following this style of eating, you've eliminated the
Mm.
seizures that not even the medications had been able to eliminate completely. When you were taking the high doses, were you having any side effects?
Like, I still had, like, no side effects, but I was thinking that would do long term damage. Like, I still having, as I said, the petit mal seizures. So still having those things where my
Hmm.
tongue would be bruised, or the other things I was talking about, like where I'd zone out for 10, 15 seconds, or see the dots in front of my eyes. So those things were happening, but no, or what was it? No side effects though, really, other than that, like, nothing else. But like, I just knew that, like, in the long run, that might have long term, like, certain medication. I think actually, no, it was probably the tiredness that I think that did. I think that was a side effect. Like, I was a lot more tired. Like, I'd be tired during the afternoon. Now I don't know if that was the medication or if that was the carbs, because obviously when you have sugar and then you get the sugar spike and then the drop, so like the sugar crash. So I don't know if it was the sugar or if it was the medication. I think it was a combination of the two.
Well,
Um,
they definitely
yeah,
can cause problems with drowsiness,
yeah,
uh, brain fog, and a bunch of other medications. Some of them can cause problems with nutritional deficiencies, like
yeah,
deficiencies in particular folic acid and vitamin B12.
yeah.
So
Actually, I just,
how long after? And if you have any questions for Chris, please put them in the chat. Okay. Uh, if once you started the carnivore diet, you went fully carnivore, how long did it take for you to notice you were not having petit mal seizures anymore?
Pretty quickly. Like I did have like there's some carbs in like milk. I was drinking a bit of raw milk, especially at the beginning of the carnivore diet. I suppose even when I was eating like fruit and meat, like I was eating maybe like only like 20% of the diet from fruit. So it was still like more so meat. But I think it was quite quickly after that I started cutting out the fruit and all. Quite quickly did I notice that like
Okay.
things are improving. And then slowly after time, a couple of months, I started like cutting meds a little bit, but like taking lower doses, say not cutting the meds, but like yeah, it was quite quick. But like what you're saying to me about the nutritional deficiencies, that's true because like people like I think that's another good reason why you should eat the carnivore diet, because the carnivore has like all the nutrition you need, like because like if you're eating like they say that like the certain anti-epileptic medications, like the neurologist got me to do a test to check my like sodium levels, because like sodium like that can be depleted on a by taking the anti-convulsant medication, and also calcium as well. But like but like I get plenty of like I do take salt and all, like I use salt and all, and obviously there's sodium in naturally in meat as well. So
So,
there is nutritional. Oh, sorry.
yeah, go ahead to finish your thought.
So there is nutritional deficiencies. That thing about you're saying about the brain fog as well. I noticed that a little bit as well. Like, but and the drowsiness as well. Like, especially with the medication, I think that is something as well. Definitely, yeah.
So you've been seizure free of no petit mal or grand mal seizures for over a year now. Has that changed anything in your confidence to do daily activities without the thought that you're going to have a seizure in a situation where you wouldn't want to?
Yeah.
Are you
Well, like
driving?
I don't drive now.
Okay.
Yeah. So like I think you're not meant to really drive for 2 years after having a seizure. Now, obviously, since I haven't had a full blown one now for about 4 years anyway. But like to answer your question about the has it affected the confidence to do things, like in other things, like I feel like you see my epilepsy isn't like it's not like the full blown ones where like as I said I had four in my life, but I was never like too worried about getting the full blown one. Like one time, like I said, the last one was like 4 years ago. So like the mini ones, I'm not like it doesn't prevent me doing much stuff. Maybe driving, I'd be a bit worried if, but as I said, I'm not driving right now at the moment anyway. But maybe driving, if I was driving, then something like that would be, or if there's like very harsh light or something that might affect it. But like, I was just more concerned about like that those mini ones would cause problems, like even because the anti-epileptic medication wasn't. And I was talking to neurologists about that before, that I was still getting the petit mals. So they took me off the Keppra medication and then they put me on Lamictal and Xebenex. And then when they noticed I was still having little problems when I was telling them about my little episodes, then they'd say, okay, increase a little bit more. And then increase a little bit more the medication, increase a little bit more. And I even talked to them about the keto diet. I didn't really know much about the carnivore diet. I heard about it, but I didn't really look into it too much. And I told the neurologist about that, but he was like, just he said, "Oh, we don't practice that in this clinic." So then I tried stuff like I had heavy metals in my mouth, like mercury fillings. I thought like that might because obviously you don't want too much mercury in your body, so you got them removed. And then I tried the carnivore diet and cut out the plant foods as well. But yeah, I don't really worry about like it doesn't affect me, as I said, too much in my daily life anyway, besides the driving. But then again, I hadn't been driving for before that anyway. Do you get me?
Tell me a little bit about the indigestion, the gastrointestinal symptoms that you were talking about.
Yeah. So I'm not saying I was like the worst person in the world with the gas and all, but what I noticed was that like when I was a vegan like 7 years ago, and I was eating a lot of stuff, and my stomach was like messed up. I suppose like it was just a lot of bloating and like a lot of like indigestion. Just that you notice it. Like I remember my mom saying that to me multiple times, and then I said, okay, I need to fix that. And I heard that like when you remove fiber, that can help. So, but I was still having like a bit of pectin fiber from the fruit. So, but I thought, oh, fruits like better than a lot of things. I thought, oh, it's like natural or whatever. So, but I noticed that was still, it wasn't anything like too severe. It wasn't like super bad. Like I remember though, like sometimes like if I had like porridge, especially years ago, and like it'd be sitting in my, I feel like it was sitting in my stomach all day. It was just very uncomfortable feeling, kind of. I hadn't got like I wasn't diagnosed or anything, or I hadn't got anything bad for that digestive system, but like I think maybe both of them, like obviously that like the digestive system is kind of like everything's connected though. So like I feel like improve my digestion, maybe help with the epilepsy as well. But I think like the yeah, it was just bad indigestion that you notice it like that like if you're like, and my mom noticed it, just she could hear it, and I mean just from being near me. So as I said, there was no diagnosis or anything, but it was just me knowing and noticing it, and then other people noticing it, like my mom noticing it before.
Okay. How about your energy levels? Did they change once you transitioned with your diet?
Yeah, like I think that's one of the main things that has changed. Like besides the digestion and the epilepsy, I think the energy levels. Because like I noticed that like I used to like be sleepy in the afternoon, like and tired in the afternoon. I don't really get that anymore now. I don't get tired in the afternoon. Even when I get like 6 hours sleep, I'd still be pretty. I still have pretty good energy anyway. So yeah, that's definitely noticed. I've definitely noticed because like the sugar, as I was saying, like I noticed that like when you get the sugar crash, I don't get those afternoon slumps after eating a meal. I don't feel tired anymore. Like yeah, because I basically kind of just have like 2 meals a day. I don't have like a breakfast. So after like I usually have like minced beef, for example, in the afternoon, and like I don't get yeah, I don't feel as much energy as I did first thing in the morning, in the afternoon. Yeah, now.
That was my lunch just a little while ago.
Oh,
What time is it where you are right now?
it's a 8:30 in the evening.
Okay.
In the evening,
Okay.
PM. Yeah.
So you're 5 hours ahead of us. We have a question here from the audience. Let's take it. And if you have any other questions for Chris, please put them in the chat. Brian Airy, Chris, other than carnivore, do you exercise or do you do sauna?
I don't do sauna. I'm actually looking into doing that. Actually, like I might join a gym if there's a good sauna somewhere, but I don't do sauna at the moment. Like, but like so yeah, no, don't do it at the moment. But that is actually something that I was looking into doing actually, a sauna.
And
So
do you
yeah,
do any exercise or any type of training?
exercise. I don't do any exercise at the moment. I do like I walk a lot though, but like I usually like if I'm off, then like I'd walk in the morning, usually at least like half an hour in the morning, and I'd always get in about an hour overall. But I don't do any strenuous, like I don't do any exercise like weightlifting at the moment. I did before a little bit, but and I never really got into jogging much. I never did any marathons or anything. But yeah, I don't do much exercise at the moment, but I need to. I should actually implement doing a bit of like strength training or something a couple of times a week or something like that. I might do that, but at the moment, no. So later.
All right. This someone asked, is the doctor healthy looking one on the right or the other guy? Well, I don't know what your right was, but Dr. Vasquez. and this here is Chris. And he's been able to put his epilepsy in remission with a carnivore diet. If you have any questions, please put them in the chat. We'll appreciate that.
Actually, I was just thinking of something. When I remember you were saying before that, like, we're talking about the sugar there, the carbs, and like you were pre-diabetic for 27 years, was it, or 28 years, Dr. Nelson? Is that right?
I was, yes, I was diabetic.
Yeah.
You see my my story.
Yeah. Because like, I think that like, yeah, it's like from the sugar, and like it obviously helped with the sugar by cutting that out, the sugar that you get from like all the foods, and like because obviously like chronically high sugar levels are, yeah, that's how you get it, like from eating too
That
much
is
sugar,
very
like
inflammatory and
yeah,
probably is the basis for all modern chronic diseases.
yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So you mentioned you eat twice a day. You mentioned mince meat, which most places in the United States we call ground meat or ground beef.
Yes.
So what do you normally have on the other meals that you're not having your mince meat?
Yeah, so like if I was like working or something, or if I was out somewhere, like I'd have the mincemeat. But besides that, like I'd have like steaks. Like the odd time I'd have like a strip loin steak or something a bit fatty. I don't have like the very lean. I don't have like sirloin. I try to eat like obviously that's more expensive though, the steaks. But like sometimes ribeye as well. And the odd time I have like cheese. Not too much now, but a bit of unpasteurized cheese I'd have. Like I'd put that on top of the burger patty, but I try not to have too much cheese, but I'd have a bit of that as well. And
Okay.
then like a salted food as well.
Do you do any type of time restricted eating, intermittent fasting, or any prolonged fasting?
I did like go like a day and a half before while eating, but like usually I don't go too much. Oh, hang on a second. Oh, sorry. Yeah, I did have time, like I did have like a day and a half well before. I think I went well, but usually I have like 1 or 2 meals a day. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, is it difficult to find good quality meat, ruminant meat in particular, around you?
Like there is like wait, hang on, I just close the door here.
Please put your questions in the
Sorry
chat
about that.
for Chris. Go ahead.
Okay.
So,
Sorry, is there any, pardon?
is it difficult to source high quality meats around where you live?
Yeah, so like yeah, it's like I do usually I sometimes I usually buy it in the like supermarket. The meat in Ireland is quite good quality anyway, but like I sometimes get it from a butcher as well, but like 80% of the time I would get it from like a supermarket. Like but as I said, it's usually grass fed anyway. The beef. Of course, like you want to be careful if it's like pork or chicken because they're monogastric animals. But like with ruminant animals like beef and lamb, and as I said, I usually eat beef anyway, like whether it's minced beef or whether it's steaks. So usually it is. Usually I do eat that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look up on that site. Yeah, one here.
Do you eat,
20,
you mentioned the
20,
pork
30.
and the chicken, and do you avoid those? Do you get any reactions by eating those, or do you just don't have them as often?
The pork and chicken. I don't have a like. I'm not saying that they're bad to have. So like sorry. Yeah, I don't.
Do you have them often or not?
Sorry, it's just quite noisy around there. Sorry. Okay, so yeah, the pork and the chicken. I don't really eat chicken and pork much. Not like because I can't find good quality. If I could find good quality, then and obviously like chicken's not that fatty. But like if you can get a good, if you could get good chicken, like then like that's been pasture raised, then I'd eat chicken.
Okay. So, what inspired you to start your own channel? You have a YouTube channel, you have an Instagram account, right?
Yeah.
What inspired you to do that?
Yeah, it's just that like I noticed that like everything, like I want to improve my health from like when I noticed with the epilepsy, for example, and everything, and just little things that helped when I changed food. So I thought like why is like not like why is people not like obviously not everyone focused on nutrition. People eat a lot of rubbish, for example, and like I just kind of like I see people like maybe like that they're not in shape or they're having some health problem. And like you're like I kind of want to help them. I mean to become healthier, basically. Um, so like my thing was why I called my channel Healthier Now, for example, was because like I was saying like oh how to become healthier now than you were before, of course, because like I feel that like people like if you just made little changes, then obviously it can make a big difference. And you don't have to change everything overnight necessarily. That's not the best approach, but like if you so yeah, it's just kind of like it just hurts me when like people are kind of like doing the wrong things, and you know that they could be become healthier, basically. You know what I mean?
All right. So, you talk to people. What are the top 3 things that you tell them to start with? Let's say you want to make it simple for them, and unless they want to just go carnivore right away, what are the top 3 things that you would suggest to someone who's interested, is a carnivore curious or keto curious, and just wants to make a change? What will be the
Yeah.
3 top things?
Okay. Like the first thing, I think the most important thing is like kind of like transition slowly, especially if like you're coming from a standard American diet, like or a standard diet, like if you're then I think and you're eating a lot of plants and different stuff, then I think the best thing to do is start very slowly. Like don't just transition over and just eat like just beef all day the next day. I think you should transition over slowly and maybe from over the course of a couple of months, like 6 to 8 weeks or so, just slowly increase the meat and decrease the plant foods. So like and the fungi, if mushrooms, for example, but like decrease the plants and increase the meat slowly, and do that over the course of a couple of months. So I think that's the most important thing. I think because people transition too quick and then they kind of like don't feel good because they're used to because they're running a different fuel source. Then like they're not fat adapted. They're used to running on sugar and all. So now because you change your fuel source to something completely different, then you should do it slowly, and then you won't get as because you might get like the keto flu, for example, and stuff. So those things can be harsh if you transition over too quick. So I think slowly do it, and that's the best approach. I think that's number one. Then number two, I think, yeah, I think just like I think that's the most important thing overall. I think you kind of like be prepared, like a plan, like how are you going to do it, like because like if you're saying I'm going to eat just 2 meals a day, I think this kind of ties into number one as well, though number two, because like if you think you're going to go for just 2 meals a day, plan for it. Like say if you're out and like what have you got, like instead of just running to the shop and just getting any rubbish. I mean, like have you got something, like for example, if I'm out, like I might bring some burger patties with me. I might like, cook them at home and then I'd bring them with me. But like if I don't cook too much now, I have like quite rare meat, but like I'd bring that with me where like, so I think that's important to be prepared like when you're going out, because like if you're not at home all the time, then you need stuff. Now, of course, you might eat less meals a day eventually, because when you get used to the carnivore diet, when you become fat adapted. But for the beginning, if you're used to eating like 5 times a day, like like 3 meals and 2 snacks, for example, you might still be eating that much when you're carnivore at the beginning, and then eventually you might eat like 2 meals a day or 1 meal a day, OMAD. But like, I think it's good to prepare for it, like, kind of have the plan of action, kind of like, because like there'll be tough times, and like of course some people, like if they cheat and they have like a bad meal, sometimes that won't affect them too much. It depends where you're coming from, of course, as well. Like some people, like if they go off track a little bit, that's fine. Like, I mean, the odd time, but like I- um I think, and then number three, I think, is to improve like other health aspects as well around carnivore. I think that's important as well, because like, yeah, like for example, like if you like to sleep better, to get a lot of sun and stuff like that, not too much now, but like obviously enough. um like for example, like last summer I got like a tan, and I never got that before. When I used to eat a standard American diet, like I was getting burnt all the time, maybe from the seed oils or whatever. But I used to get burnt, and then last summer I got a tan without getting burnt, and that was the first time for like a proper tan. Nothing major, like it's probably gone now, but like, so I think little habits like that, sleeping properly and all. I think that's number three to go along with the carnivore diet, um, because like, and exercise. Like I don't do enough sometimes. Like I should do more. Like I do a lot of walking, but I don't. Maybe I could do some strength training here or there. But so I think other things along with the carnivore diet. But I think the main thing though is to start slowly. I think that's the most important thing. And also, actually, another point I was going to make is that like, if you're noticing that you're not getting good results, don't kind of quit straight away. Like look at your ratios of like your fat to protein, because like maybe you're eating too lean of meat, and by eating too lean of meat, then like you could run into like rabbit starvation, fat starvation. Like I was talking about, actually, I was talking to Dr. Kiltz before. I was talking to him about this. Like when you run in like Vilmar Stephenson talked about before, when you have too lean of meat, then you get nauseousness, headaches, and stuff. So because like when people are eating like rabbit, for example, that's another point, going back to the bit about the chicken. Like if people eating chicken without the skin, or even if they are eating the skin, sometimes it's too lean, so you need some fat. So not necessarily that you should not eat chicken, it's just that like add some fat to it, like whether it's like tallow or beef trimmings or something, or make sure you eat the skin. And obviously good quality, because they're monogastric animals, so you want a good quality chicken to eat. And yeah, so I think focus on the fat to protein ratios. Like if you're struggling, and but again, it takes time though, I think. And yeah, and sometimes you don't notice the results straight away. So I think that's a big thing.
What's the most common questions you get from people on your channels, on especially those that are carnivore curious?
Oh, good question. Yeah. So I had a video I was reacting to someone about, and I was mentioning about like, they're saying about, oh, these foods don't cause me problems with the like, I was talking about fiber. So people would have questions about like I think fiber is a big one that people have questions about. I think if they're curious about carnivore, then it's fiber. If they're not curious about carnivore, then maybe with the cholesterol. People fear that. But if they're curious about carnivore, then I notice that fiber might be, or the nutrition people talk about as well. I remember someone mentioned to me about like, oh, potassium, and how do you get enough potassium and vitamin C? And they say, oh yeah, vitamin C competes with um, sugar at the same transporter, so you don't need as much vitamin C, for example. And there's vitamin C in liver if you eat liver the time, and stuff. And even in meat itself, there is. So, and then fiber is another one, because people are like, oh, what about your digestion? And I actually was talking about that, because like actually fixed my digestion when I removed fiber. So that's another common question as well that people have. And people are like, I didn't feel good. Another thing is people say I didn't feel good when I went on carnivore or something. But like I'm thinking that's like because maybe you didn't have someone that coached you through it, or maybe you transitioned too fast. That's why you had that problem. Because like I think people are too quick, and you probably see this a lot in the carnivore community, where people are too quick to add lots of carbohydrates in, like Paula Saladino, for example. People add in carbs too quick. And like, look, if you wanted that, like 20 grams of carbs, that's fine, but don't try to overcorrect it by having like 200 plus grams every day. Like, I think people say, I feel bad, so now I have to add in loads, or they hear that carnivore is stressful. So I made a video actually about like that, like gluconeogenesis, about like that, like cortisol. People say, oh, it's very stressful on the body, gluconeogenesis, because like making your own sugar. But like, that's only at the beginning, and then what they notice is that actually the cortisol goes down. And you need cortisol anyway. It's not necessarily a bad thing. You wouldn't get out of bed if you didn't have cortisol, so you need cortisol anyway. That's why it rises in the morning, for example, to get you out of bed. So it's not necessarily. It's only if it's chronically high, but it's not really chronically high. It's only high, and even in studies I was talking about in this video, they show that like for the first 3 weeks it's high because of the enzymes that are involved in gluconeogenesis, like Pepsi K and glucose 6,1 biphosphatase, and there's another one, so I can't think of the name of it, but they're high at the beginning, but because they're involved in because like you have more gluconeogenesis at the beginning of a carnivore diet, but then it goes back down to baseline after the 3 weeks, the cortisol. So I think that's another thing. People say it's stressful, they don't feel good on it and stuff, but it's either because the transition phase, or they haven't looked into the fat and protein ratio, and there's a number of stuff. People are still like having coffee, and look, that's great. Like if coffee helps you stick to a carnivore diet, then have coffee. But like if you're not having good results, then you could try that as well. Maybe having decaf or cutting the coffee for a while, and because the coffee is obviously a plant, and that has defense chemicals, and that has the caffeine, etc., and all that stuff. So a chlorogenic acid and all. So like I think that yeah, they're the main things. And then people that aren't carnivore, that are kind of just like dissing or just trying to attack the carnivore diet, they're people that would talk about obviously cholesterol, because they hear that, like they think that cholesterol is a bad to have, like LDL cholesterol and the ApoB pattern and all that. But in terms of the people that are actually curious about the about the carnivore diet, it'd be more so about the fiber, etc.
All right, we have a question from Brian Ari. Chris, did you have any pushback from family and friends when they found out you were doing carnivore?
Yeah, not really bad pushback, but like they would kind of disagree with it, yeah. And some people are a bit more on board now, like, but like I do notice that people notice that it's helped me, so people are kind of more on board now with it. But like, for example, my girlfriend, she'd be more on board with it. She would kind of understand a little bit more now about that. And a couple of friends, they would be more like, but and people eat a bit, like I noticed that people had changed a bit about their mentality about it. Yeah, definitely. But I did have a bit of pushback. Well, it wasn't anything harsh, like it wasn't anything too bad. I mean, like, but I think people disagreed because they're still like, because they listen to like obviously mainstream media that says like that fat is bad, saturated fat is bad, and that like or you get a heart attack from eating too much meat and all, and too much fatty meat. But like I think when that's why actually that's another reason they could try to promote the message, because like obviously there's a lot of misinformation saying about like fat and about fiber, etc. And I think they understand now more when they hear my story, and like people do, and when they see me, like I think like maybe some of them are like, he'll eventually stop the carnivore diet and realize it's not good. Maybe that's what some people think as well. But like I didn't have too much very harsh criticism or anything. But yeah, they wouldn't have agreed with it, especially at the beginning. Yeah.
You had mentioned in the information you provided us that you're studying to be a coach, a health coach, nutrition coach.
Yeah,
Are you
I am actually a coach now. Yeah.
okay?
But I was doing, yeah.
All right. So, can you explain for the people who are here who may not understand what is the connection between your brain and your gut?
Yeah, like I'm not gonna say that I'm the best well versed in it, but I just feel like anything like obviously like when you hear about like ketosis, for example, and stuff like that, like to get in that state, like obviously your liver produces like ketone bodies for, and not that ketosis should be like you should be focused more on fat adaptation of, rather than ketosis. But I think that like, for example, that's why, for example, the epilepsy and for other neurological conditions, by the way, as well, that like not just epilepsy, that like people say because the gut brain connection, because like whatever you eat is going to impact your like brain. If you're eating a lot of sugar, then that's going to, like they say about like type this is going off point a little bit, but like type 3 diabetes, I know it's not like technically I mean defined as this, but people say like Alzheimer's, and say from like type 3 diabetes. I know that's not like technically, as I said, a term, but like it's not like defined as that, like but like I feel like that like sugar and all like does affect it. I'm not too versed on the actual um on the science behind the actual gut brain connection, to be honest with you, but I just know about that like your brain can run on like fat, and like you don't need to have sugar, because that's why you get like the sugar crash that we were talking about earlier. When you're having too much sugar, it's kind of quick energy and then you lose it. Because like, for example, like when you hear about like anabolic and catabolic, I don't want to go off point though. To be honest with you, I'm not too well versed on the brain gut connection specifically.
So, what do you think it has been the reception of the carnivore diet in Ireland?
Not many people do that. No, like I need to put the message out there more. Like I'm trying to with the videos, but I need to go out there and kind of help people more. Like, but like there's not many people doing it. Like there's no one close to me doing it. I know a couple of people from Ireland doing it because like I talk to them in the communities, in carnivore communities. So I know there's a couple of people in Ireland that, like a few people I know from Ireland that do the carnivore diet. Yeah. So I don't know them personally. I just know them from online. Like I mean, like so I don't know them well. I mean, but from people, well, like I know one or two people that know me that saw me and that are changed their diet slightly, but I feel like they still need, like for example, I mentioned my girlfriend, like she's cutting some rubbish out of her diet a little bit, but she's not eating the carnivore diet yet. Maybe she'll never do it, but like she's eating more meat and all. But like, and I noticed like one or two other people, but it's like, but to be honest with you, not no one that I know like that I see much on a day-to-day basis besides that is eating carnivore. And because like a lot of nutritionists, for example, and doctors, you probably know, like, but like it's like they get taught like, oh, the food pyramids, and now obviously the food pyramid in the US, like it's different now, but like there's a lot more meat on it at the top. But what the food pyramid was before was like, oh, eat very little. Since 1977, the food pyramid, when like obviously the sugar industry was paid off. I talk about this actually in my videos, but like since then, the sugar, like obviously people eat a lot more sugar and a lot of more seed oils. Like in the last 100 or 150 years, people have eaten a lot of using seed oils, and like they used to cook in McDonald's. They used to cook in like obviously tallow. Now they're cooking in like all seed oils and all. Um, and I used to like obviously do that as well before years ago. I used to cook in like rapeseed oil or canola oil, you might call it in the US. Um, but like yeah, I think that's probably one of the things, like the food pyramid, because they see that in the food pyramid, the nutritionists, then that's why you don't see many people promoting that, like the carnivore diet or a carnivore diet in general. Like online you do, but not in like kind of like around you.
You mentioned canola oil, and I would like to put a label on all canola oil bottles in big red letters. We used to be motor oil.
Mm, yeah.
Uh, so, how do you balance your day job with your passion for health coaching?
Yeah, yeah, like machine lubricants there, yeah, the the oils, yeah, like to balance the two. Well, like at the weekends, like when I have time, like I try to look like research like nutrition, for example. I did a couple of courses in it. Like I said, I did a coaching course, but I also did like another course before nutrition as well. Um, and I just kind of in my spare time, whenever I have time, I like to research it and to learn about it more to improve my health, and then obviously to try and make the videos as good as possible as well. So it's difficult sometimes, but whenever I do, especially at the weekend or sometimes in the evenings, I like would take time. I always do. Like it's one of like my main passions. That's one of the things I mostly focus on outside of work will be nutrition. So I just like whenever I have time, like I try to edit video or look into content, and yeah, I always try to bet myself. Like if I make a flaw in the video, or if I don't make a video good, or if I don't understand the topic well enough, then I try to research it so I can make it better next time.
If we have anyone watching that has epilepsy, what would be your advice for them?
Yeah. Now, like first, I'd say there's a lot of different types of epilepsy, and like obviously some people might have it worse than me. They might have more full-blown seizures than me, for example, and they might have had it younger. Maybe I had it always, but I didn't actually notice it until my 20s. Um, but like, so what I'd say is with someone with epilepsy, like, I think if like it depends, like if they've already started the medication, like let's say if they're already taking medication, for example, I think like keep taking it and just at the beginning at least, and just try like find a professional that can help you, and just talk to people about the carnivore diet. Maybe get a coach or get someone that can help you guide you through it, and just slowly go into it, whether you do the keto diet or the carnivore diet. I prefer the carnivore diet because it removes like the heavy metals, and it removes the plant toxins in general. But I think begin slowly, begin the diet slowly. Like I'd say for anyone doing the carnivore diet, whether they've epilepsy or not, but like I think begin slowly, but like look for alternative. Like if they're saying to you take medication, if you want to take it, like I mean, like take it, but like try to what like if I went back in time, like I would kind of like maybe cut the sugar straight away and see if that would help a bit. But like if you're taking medication at the moment and you're doing and you've like if you're taking medication for epilepsy, try the carnivore diet and just kind of like just see if it's helping. If it's helping, then maybe slowly over time. Like obviously, I'm not a doctor. You are, but like I'm not a doctor. So, but like I'd say, in my experience, cut the like if you want to cut the meds very slowly. But I think it's good to have a practitioner and talk to them about that as well. Now, maybe they disagree with you, because a lot of people disagree with me. A lot of like doctors, because they get taught in school, like in obviously they're kind of pushing these like that's kind of their profession. Like when they hear that someone's got epilepsy, more than one seizure, their first job is to say take these like this medication. So it's very difficult to talk to them sometimes about that when you're saying, oh, what about a natural way? Even if you mention to them that's been helped for epilepsy for over 100 years, they might say to you, but in this clinic, we our practice is like to, if you're having these problems, to take this medication. But I think like if you're taking that medication, just eat healthy. That's the first step, and like cut out the sugar and cut out the seed oils. Just kind of like eat like fatty meat preferably, and then like if you're still having problems, like get help from people, and then but don't cut meds until like you're kind of sure that like you're improving, and then you could kind of do it over time
certainly
and
you
get a
have
lot
to
of
work with your
support.
provider to come off medications, and we have to make that clear. I am a physician, but I am not your physician. If you're watching, you need to work with your provider to come off medication. Chris, any changes with sleep patterns
No,
compared to
no, not really.
before?
No, look, actually, not really. I think, I think that like I noticed that it's like if I sleep less, like I don't need maybe as much sleep as I did before. I think that's something, yeah. And also I
Okay.
used to notice that another thing that I noticed actually was that like when I was eating like maybe more sugar and all, that like more the plant foods, that like I was kind of like had involuntary kicks. That's another thing actually I never mentioned. Like I was talking about the biting the tongue when I was sleeping in my sleep, but also like I had involuntary kicks sometimes before I fell to sleep. Maybe that was discomfort or something I was having. So I think that thing, but the sleep in general, no, like I'm sleeping fine. Like it's sometimes like I only sleep like maybe once I get like 6 hours sleep, then I notice that that's good. So sometimes now I could do a 7 or 8 hours, but yeah, I notice that sleep is quite a bit. Yeah.
All right. Well, we've come to the end of the hour, and we started a few minutes late. That's why we are past the top of the hour here. But where can people find you? Which platform is your favorite for getting in contact with people?
Instagram, like I have all my full videos on YouTube now, so that's like the best. Like the best thing is YouTube, both Instagram. If you want to like DM me, like if you then like and talk to me one on one, then it's best to DM me on Instagram. But I do have a
Okay.
YouTube channel that I post the longer length videos on. But to DM me like on YouTube if you have any or if you want to talk to me one on one, like about transitioning
So
over to a carnivore diet.
we're showing your Instagram, and then uh, on YouTube is Healthier Now. On Instagram is Healthier Now Chris, I believe.
Yeah, I was going to call it healthier now as well, but then it was already taken. So I had to add Chris at the end on Instagram.
Yeah. So if you want to get in touch with him, go ahead and contact him through Instagram. Subscribe to the channel. Uh, as you can see, I'm subscribed, uh, and I'm following you also on
Yeah, I follow you too. Yeah.
Instagram. All righty. Well, we've come to the end. 5:30 in the community. We are having a Zoom call tonight. So in an hour and a half, I'll be with you. Come join us. If you're watching and you're not a member of the Kiltz Mighty Tribe, you can search in the description of where you're watching, or you can search for Kiltz Mighty Tribe, and you can also go to drkiltz.com and find your way into our community. It is free. All you have to do is provide an email so you can be admitted into the Kiltz Mighty Tribe, and then we have free Zoom calls Monday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays within the community at 5:30. And you know that every morning we're also here at 6 a.m. Eastern time from 6 to 7, Monday through Friday. All right. So you have a great day, a good evening, good night, wherever you are watching from. And thank you, Chris, for being with us today, sharing your story of healing. All right.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Dr. Nelson.
All right.
Right.
Bye.